Hey, what's up? We're Monster Kid Media. Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite films, Stephen King's Pet Sematary, the original, 1989. We're not going to talk about this. Well, we might touch on the sequel a little bit. Definitely don't need to talk about the remake too much.
No,
Uh, Pet Sematary from 1989 is one of my top five favorite films. You guys ready?
I'm
yeah,
definitely ready.
we're ready. I
I'm
mean,
so
we got all
stoked.
our friends here, so you got a lot of friends over there, Matt. Then introduce
You want me
us.
to introduce you guys? So this is my buddy Pascal. I did a quick video on Pascal. He was made by Evan Para. Uh, I I'm not prepared. That's Zelda. I can't remember who did Zelda. That is
Nintendo.
that's Judd back there from Suckface Studios, finished by John Thomas and John Thomas Church the cat with the glowing eyes. And I don't remember who made this guy either, but a life-size Gauge.
Man.
He
So
comes with a
cute.
scalpel too, but
So cute.
in his burial suit.
Yeah,
And I know you guys can't hear because the mic, the noise canceling mic, but he talks. He says things from the movie. So whoever
okay.
did this, I got this guy off of Etsy. They did
Yeah,
an awesome job.
wow.
Yeah. So
That thing's awesome.
man, I got all the Pet Cemetery stuff here. I got Micmac Burial Ground Dirt Pet Cemetery. I got rocks up top from the Micmac Burial Ground.
Don't you have Gage's arm screen?
Yeah, I got that up here in this case, and the Wendigo, the screen used Wendigo, that's on Judd's mantle. I'll do another video showing you guys those.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That
So
that Judd
So,
doesn't look a
I
lot
mean,
like John Lithgow, though. I was a little bummed.
all right, that's the end of the episode. Thank you guys for watching.
my question is, when do you get in the truck?
Okay, yeah. So
Oh yeah.
so I went up to Maine because I wanted to see the filming locations and super far north Maine. The truck was in a just in some guy's yard. It wasn't really a junkyard. It was just like back off the road, kind of in the woods a little bit, overgrown. And I'm up there and I'm looking at it, and there's like a little plaque on the inside that says "Made for Pet Cemetery, 1989." And this old guy comes up, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'm just looking at this truck." I said, "This is the Pet Cemetery truck," and he sounded just like Judd. He's like, "Oh, yeah," and I'm like, "Oh my God." So I was like, would you ever want to sell this truck? And I'm not gonna do the Judd impression the whole time, but
No, you should. Come on.
oh yeah, I reckon I could do that. So then he threw this number at me, and I'm like, holy fuck! First of all, how am I gonna get this thing home? What am I gonna do with it? Uh, so I ended up not calling him because it was thousands. This guy wanted thousands, and
Well, yeah.
hang on one second. And I kind of let it go, and a company up in Maine actually bought it and redid it, remade the whole truck. So they made it exactly like it was in the movie. So
Cool.
I'm sure we'll get to it, but the number on the side of the truck is 666 on the one side, and then on the passenger side it's 668 because they wanted to use it as two separate trucks. There's 666 flipped over. Spoiler alert when it hits Gage. And 668 is the one that picks up um, Mrs. Creed. So,
Just throwing spoilers at the beginning. My
so
goodness.
you asked about the truck.
Dude, the
My
truck
man.
thing. I get a random phone call one evening, and it's Matt. He's like, "Hey, can you get a CDL?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "How hard do you think it is to get a CDL?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, I'm thinking about getting this truck. We got to get it back somehow." And I'm like, "What?" And we're sitting here like brainstorming, trying to figure out how we can do this. And then it jumps from that to, Matt's like, "We can take it to conventions, show it at conventions. People would love to see that. Redo it to conventions." And we were like dead set on figuring out how to drive this thing back here, how we can get the CDL. I couldn't see over that freaking steering wheel. There's no way I could get a CDL to drive that
I
thing.
still got the guy's phone number in my wallet. I keep it in there just because it's kind of cool. But that's exactly what they're doing with it now. And the guy who plays the truck driver will go around with the truck sometimes and do signings with it.
That's
So
awesome.
we missed an
That's
opportunity.
cool.
What is up with these Stephen King movies? Like props that they use. Like they use these props, make them for the movies, and then the people out in Maine just like throw it in their front yard or in the woods and leave them sit there to just decompose
Yeah,
and you
Yeah,
know,
it's weird.
like what's that called? The
Mad Max head or Mad Max, the Maximum Overdrive head.
overdrive. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Like was it you that told me about that? The head's just sitting there in
Well,
that guy's yard?
somebody got it, I think, and refurbished it or whatever.
But it's just crazy. I just want to go to Maine and drive around and see like what we can take out of people's yards.
I'll take
It's a
that
Stephen King garage sale.
Don't mind us. All right.
Oh man.
So,
All right.
where do we start with this? What a what this film? Okay, it deviates from the book slightly in places, and then like kind of heavily towards the end. Have you guys
Mhm.
either of you guys read the book?
This is the one Stephen King book I read and like remember for the
Okay,
most part.
but for putting it into the film or putting the book into the film, I thought they did an awesome job. They omitted parts that weren't like I wish they would have touched on Judd's wife a little bit more, um, because she was kind of a big part in the book.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
wouldn't say big, but not big enough that they couldn't omit her from it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, after the movie's done, it's not doesn't seem really to be necessary. But
she was alive in the book for a while, and Lewis would go over there and help her. So they kind of merged the Missy Dandridge and Norma Crandall character a little bit. I maybe I felt like, because he would try to help her with her stomach pain, but whatever.
that's fair. And then they kind of just killed her off.
I think they did the right call though, not having his wife in it though, because it definitely made his character that much more lovable, I think. Just this
Mhm.
old man by himself across the street coming over and just, kind of joining this family in a way, because he has nothing and nobody.
Interesting, you call him lovable.
Well, I Mike's theory, and we haven't talked about it yet, but Mike and I have known each other for a very long time, and I know exactly what his theory is. And I watched the movie today, with this theory in mind because of something someone said in the commentary. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I in my brain I took it a step further,
Oh, like you do.
like I do.
I
But I
might
found out. Well, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. But I did find out that so this is not anything new. Apparently, people have thought this. But anyways, let's continue.
Okay. So, I want to talk about first of all, this is not a normal horror film.
Mhm.
This is a very deep movie. I care very deeply about the characters. I don't know if it's because I have nostalgia tied to them. Um, I mean, the character development was awesome. Every
Mhm.
single one of those characters I had some sort of an attachment to.
Yes.
So that's just the people. The house, that was the perfect house to have this film.
Yeah.
And again,
Hmm.
I don't know if it's because it's nostalgic, but like actually going to the house and driving that hill and then seeing the house appear, it's like, oh, this is why this is perfect. Everything. The facade they made for Judd's house across the street, um, they made it look like an old Victorian house. It just felt very New England, and we're
Hmm.
in the Midwest, but it felt very homey to me, that film.
Yeah,
You know?
and kind of isolated almost.
Mhm.
Uh, so when you went up there, was there a house across the street,
Yeah,
or was
Judd's house is still there. It's just
okay?
the house that was behind the facade. So if
Right.
anybody has made it this far into the video, so it'll probably be like one or two of you. If you
22 of
don't,
you, yeah.
if you don't know, there's the main Pet Cemetery house, and then across the street is a was a little, I think it's a white house. It wasn't what Mary Lambert wanted for Judd's house, so they just built a facade of a house around it and
Yeah,
fireproofed it for the end scene. But
Yeah, is it
yeah.
like a
Well,
little white ranch home? It's
mhm,
like actually
hmm,
pretty small.
yeah, I think I took
yeah,
pictures, but yeah, gosh, that the 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 setting was awesome. Every even I don't know if I'm getting ahead, but like the Pet Cemetery, you know, the way it was shot, the cinematography of those shots, how it's like that gloomy yet warm. And then when
hmm,
you get to the Micmac, it feels like it's a very cold, open. They killed it.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The Micmac, it definitely had that feeling of, man, they should not be there, and the way they did the path, it's it's cool. So they get to the house, right, and then the little girl Ellie is swinging on the swing, and I can't help but think when I'm a kid, like, could you imagine moving to a house and all of a sudden you're swinging and you see this cool path,
Yeah, you just
right?
go up over that hill and you see the path.
And you're like, oh man, I was thinking about when your mom moved into that house, and um she had like the sewer there, and we're like, oh, we got to go explore that.
Yeah.
And it just made me go back to that, and think about that. It's funny, I never really noticed that giant lake behind their house.
Yeah.
It's crazy because they don't like really even touch on it, but like there's a scene where you can, it's way back, and you just see this beautiful lake with the hills and stuff. I'm like, man, that's a gorgeous setting.
Oh, it's perfect. And then
Yeah,
the sky was like this perfect blue on the scenes that you're talking about.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I didn't grow up in that type of household where there's the mom and dad and a brother and a sister, but it still felt very um familiar to me. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Eh, I don't know why I had such an attachment to that. Like I felt like it was my family, you know?
Well, they were normal. They were all American family. And everybody kind of fit.
Hmm.
Um,
So
yeah.
this
It
house,
and
go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so they get to this house and Ellie falls, hurts herself, and in the book, just in the first page or two, it and I know I said we weren't gonna talk about the book much, but it talks about how Ellie is really getting on Lewis's nerves. And like when she falls on that tire swing, I'm annoyed with her already. It's like, God damn it, kid.
In the book, though, was it a tire swing? I thought she got stung by bees.
It was yeah, it was a B in the book.
Okay, all right.
Yep. Um, yeah, because Judd pulls a stinger out. Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
But so this is the scene that introduces Judd and Fred Gwynn. Holy shit. I mean, I'd seen the Munsters and Car 54, but I don't think about those at all when I watch him in this role.
No.
He's
And the initial
so good in this movie.
so good. And the initial reaction to him is like, I like this guy a lot.
Hmm.
Like
Mhm.
that's the neighbor I want.
Yeah. Yeah, you want that guy because I mean, again, it looks like they're the only two houses in the world, right?
Yeah.
And you want that guy across the street. Lewis goes over and has a beer with him. The next night. It's just that guy kind of guy that you can go and see and hang out with. That's been around there forever, so he knows the area.
And again,
Yeah.
in the book, it talks about how Lewis found a father figure later on in life, and it was talking about Judd. And that's
Mhm.
I know it didn't. I said we were going to talk about this, but that was really portrayed in this film, unlike the remake. The remake was trash. They Lewis seemed like he was
I've never
anointed.
watched the remake.
You don't need to. I almost walked out of the theater,
Yeah, I was not a happy camper with that.
but it was really like a father son type of relationship pretty quickly in the movie. Uh,
Yeah.
and then that's when Judd goes and he's like, "Yeah, there's a pet cemetery on the other side of that path. There's that damn road."
You keep freezing, by the way.
And I think it'll be fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
So
introduce.
I think it's something you said about that, the character development. The character development's amazing, and they did it in such a way that the movie still moved really well. Um, you didn't know a whole lot of the backstory, but the way they like interwove, you know, flashbacks and that kind of thing was great.
Mhm.
And they were able to kind of make it, like, oh, this is a flashback, with the soft tones when they did it. But they kept the movie just moving right along, you know.
There was no lull
Mm-mm.
in the movie.
No, you're constantly interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So this is when Judd introduces the family to the pet cemetery, like the normal pet cemetery. Uh, and you could tell that Rachel's getting kind of pissed off that Judd's talking to Ellie about death.
Hmm.
I love
Rachel,
that look
yeah,
on his face in that part.
yeah,
When he's
that
like, he just looks over at him like, "What's wrong with your wife? What's
Yep.
going on?"
yeah. Why is she raging like this? But I, I can't say enough about that scene. Uh, he kind of introduces death to Ellie
Hmm.
in a way that makes it seem not creepy, which is nice. It's where the dead speak.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh," but then he kind of explains it. This whole movie is really, like I said, it's not a horror movie. It's more of like a movie about love and death. You know?
So that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. I go, I know this isn't the horror genre, but it's so much more than that, man. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily call this a scary movie. It's a movie filled with kind of dread. Like you feel for him, like you see him breaking down. I mean, I know I'm going ahead, but
I would say it's a thriller.
Mhm.
I would go with
yeah,
thriller instead of horror.
yeah. But you can understand. It doesn't, you don't question why he's doing what he's doing because you get it,
Mhm.
regardless of what he knows is going to happen. He's like, well, maybe it won't happen.
You're jumping ahead
So
a little.
you understand it, and it's not. It doesn't. I know. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
no,
I'm like sitting here like I don't know what to say because it's like we're going all
I don't
over
know
here.
what to
So I'm
say
just like
either.
sitting
It's
back.
just
If there's something I can fill in, I will. But
all right, we'll
listen.
get there. We'll
Anybody
get
that's watching, listen. Anybody that's watching this, if they haven't seen Pet Cemetery, then I don't know why they're watching this. But
I'm telling you
yeah,
right
yeah,
now, nobody's getting this far into this video. My,
no, all right,
my
fine.
buddy,
Then
my buddy Rob will get this. He's a huge Pet Cemetery fan. Um, what's up, Rob? He's got the side of Rachel's face. He's got another one of Gage's arms. He's a collector, uh, and he owns a tattoo shop in New Hampshire. Telltale
nice.
Tattoo. So actually, I'll leave. He does a lot of like Pet Cemetery type work too. So I'll put a link to his tattoo shop in the description. He's probably the only person that's going to make it this far into this video.
Oh no, we have some people that will watch the whole thing.
You think so?
Oh yeah, Phil will, Zach will,
All right.
Hogue will.
Yeah, Hoag's on board now.
Oh yeah, he's
All
so
right.
stoked about this.
Hell yeah. What's up, Todd?
It's
Yo,
it, it's hard not to jump around in this movie. It really is because you just want to talk about all the things. Um, I don't know, man. It watching it again, it stands the test of time, right? It doesn't feel old.
no,
Um,
So this kind of created um a a bit of animosity between a friend and his girlfriend. They watched it, and this was before the remake came out,
mhm.
and the girlfriend was like, "That movie's dated. The acting's terrible." And I'm like, "You don't just stop." And then continued to say that the remake was better.
oh,
Oh, did they break up?
Yes, they did.
good, good.
Yep. Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
You don't need that negativity in your life.
No,
she posted on social media. Sometimes the remakes are better, and I'm like, no,
Oh,
no,
oh,
no.
that's god awful, god awful.
As I watch it, I don't think the acting is bad at all. I think it's some of the there's some scenes that are some of the best acting in a horror film around that time.
hmm
You know,
I mean, yeah, the acting's phenomenal in it. I just don't. I'm kind of picky with this guy for some reason. I haven't seen him in much, but that Lewis, the guy who plays Lewis, I don't know why he annoys me.
in this one,
Yeah, I don't know why. He
Dale
just like
Mitchell.
he just there were scenes and stuff that was like and watching that documentary about this movie, it makes sense now. I kind of wish he had the kids when they filmed this movie,
Mhm.
but like watching him in some of the stuff, it was just like I don't know. I don't think it was as well acted as it could have been
Do you
So
with
think he
him.
was disconnected?
Little bit. It was more like like with Gage, you know, when Gage dies and stuff. It's more of like I would almost think like maybe a girlfriend died or something, not his son, you know.
well, when he first gets hit, I think that's great. When he's in
Oh,
the middle of the road,
his reaction?
that
I'm
guttural
I'm
scream.
talking about like the funeral and like when he digs him up and is holding him, especially that scene when he digs him up and is holding him. I'm just
So
kind of like,
that's how, like, if your girlfriend died, you would dig her up and hold her like that.
Oh, I guess we're jumping ahead now.
I don't know. I just, and like I said, that's me. I know everyone will disagree because, you know, I'm probably wrong. You know, I just wasn't, I'm not a huge fan of him. I just,
So I think
I
that's
mean, I
his
feel like,
personality. Like in real life, he and even in interviews, he seems slightly disconnected from whatever is going on.
yeah,
You know, so I don't think that it has to do with the acting as much. I think that's maybe just him as a person. Because
I
if you go
probably should
back
have
and like
said it that way. Yeah, because you're right.
watch like the interviews and stuff, he doesn't seem like super into whatever it is he's talking about. Even if it's something he seems to feel pretty strongly about,
Mhm.
he doesn't get it across that way.
He was in
Yeah.
some TV show back in like the late 80s, early 90s. I forget what show it was. I saw him in that.
Soap
And
opera,
what's that?
like a soap opera.
No, it wasn't a soap opera. I
Days of
forget
Our
what it,
Lives.
I want to say it was something like Star Trek or something weird like that. Some weird like spacey show. But it was just
wife
like,
was Star Trek, right?
and
Sorry.
I think that that's why I felt the way I did with him, his acting. Like you said, it's him. That's just him because it was the exact same character in Pet Cemetery and in this show. He was like playing the same person, and it's just him, you
Yeah,
know.
you just don't
So
like
Yeah.
him.
what?
You just don't like him.
I don't want to say I don't like him. It's just I don't know. Gage outacted him. Miko was awesome.
Miko was awesome.
2-year-old outacting
Yeah.
him.
uh, where
Yeah.
were before Steve started talking about how much he hated Dale Midkiff?
We were talking about the acting.
Well,
Okay,
see,
It's
yeah, yeah.
well,
characters.
hold on. I'm gonna so since we're talking about that, I looked at that scene a lot differently when he dug him up. Like when he was holding them, I don't know. Like I felt like he's comforting him, trying to let him know it's going to be okay, and he's trying to. I mean, warming him up. I don't know. I looked at that differently. I can understand kind of where you're coming from. Um, but I mean, I think at that point he's so far gone. Lewis is. I mean, he's digging up his dead son that he just lost because he just got hit by a truck. Which, by the way, I mean, the fact that Gage is still in one piece is pretty remarkable. But hey,
Well, they
we'll
tried to
let that go.
tried to put a prosthetic on his face, and
And it didn't work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fine. You know what? It works because he was awesome.
the book
It definitely could have backfired tremendously, but it didn't.
the book it
Um,
goes into a lot of detail when he's digging him up, and I'm like, this is actually kind of fucking gross.
mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Miko, he's a cute kid. You know, they can't cover that face up.
No.
So
So
the acting, yeah, Stevie, I don't know. I agree with Mike. Especially you brought up the funeral. Maybe the acting was a little off, but when that fight happens, you can see that there's just rage in his face for his father-in-law.
and then when he sees the arm, like his hand, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, that part was kind of fucked up too. Seeing the
mhm,
dead kid's arm.
mhm.
It's an introduction to something that people aren't used to seeing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
This is like a first of its kind for the most part.
Mhm.
I heard this movie like they had to cut a lot because they were like talking about NC-17 rating for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like when he gets hit, you just see the shoot. But the first time you actually see the dead body of Gage and not
Mhm.
the demon Gage is when that arm flops out of the coffin. It's like, oh man, that's
Yeah. It's real. Yeah.
um
And honestly, whatever they had to cut out was probably for the best because less is more. I always think less is more, you know?
another character. We got to talk about Missy.
Oh,
Missy.
yeah. Yep.
Um, that was, I mean, gosh, I was a kid when this movie came out. That was like one of the first times that like suicide was kind of introduced to me, and I thought she did an incredible job.
Hmm.
When she's standing there at the edge of the table and she's got the note tacked to her
Yeah.
Yep.
shirt, and you could just see that like that look in her face, like it's all over. That part was kind of I didn't really understand it, you know, when I was a kid.
Right. Like, yeah, like it didn't fit. It was just like, what is this? Like, yeah. Mhm.
I think like as far as hanging, the only other time the only other times I saw someone hanging prior to Pet Cemetery was The Omen when
Oh,
she's like, "It's all for you, Damien," and then jumps
yeah.
off. I thought that was funny when I was a kid, you know. And then Phantasm when they hang the tall man and he's still alive. So both of those were not realistic, you know. I mean the it's all for you, Damien. She jumps off. That's more realistic. Phantasm when he's hanging there and he's talking, it's like, okay, this is very dreamlike. This was like real as fuck, you know?
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
In her face is just complete hopelessness. And it's like something that like I completely understand as an adult. Like I get it. I understand why you're jumping off the table.
Hmm.
I
And
love the camera angle of it too. It made it so much stronger too.
then
That's
hearing
Yeah.
that table kick out.
and you see the feet twitching and
Yeah.
then it goes up. That was perfect.
Mhm. And that was such a small character, but it was kind of the first introduction to a human death in the film.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So again,
I
the
mean, yeah, that was the first. Wait, did yeah, Victor died before her, right? But we didn't see him die though.
right.
Like the
No,
accident. You just saw the aftermath.
Yeah,
it
God.
was his first. It was his first day. Like he had just talked to her actually, and about her stomach, right? Because she had come over, and then it was his first day going in, and then they just
Yep. Because they were talking
went
about
right
getting
to it.
a
Nuts cut.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for teaching her that.
Yeah.
So yeah, God, we didn't even talk about the Victor Pascal scene.
Oh,
That part is so messed up because I mean, I seen
yeah.
someone get hit by a car at Kent State University once. Like, and it was a little thing, just drove over the person's leg. But
Mhm.
like it instantly like Pet Cemetery popped in my head as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, man.
So
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. Uh, I probably shouldn't say this, but there's times when I'm at work and I'll see something that reminds me, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear it. Yeah.
It reminds me of like,
Well,
oh, Pascal.
I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure it does.
And there are movies that just don't do it right at all. Uh, the makeup on Brad Greenquist was incredible. Like
Mhm.
the flap with the exposed
Yeah.
brain, like that's and the skin tone and like it they did a really good job.
There's only one other
Amazing.
movie that really made me feel a way looking at like a body like that. Like, cause you gradually see him get worse and worse, you know? That and American Werewolf in London. The friend, how you see him gradually just decomposing.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
those two films got it perfect, I think.
like we're gonna talk about the werewolf. Like he looks like a real werewolf.
But
Um,
no, that's a scarring scene there with him, everyone carrying him in on that towel or whatever.
so that
Yeah.
part where it's a couple of different things. They bring him in. Lewis is like, I need two large bore IVs. Let's get I don't forget what he says. Get the crash cart, whatever. He grabs the BVM. He does a couple breaths for him. They close the curtains, and then he's just like, fuck it. And nobody starts IVs. They don't do anything else. Like they just kind of. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Talking like from a professional aspect.
What you know now. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
But I don't like. Is that something that you guys notice? Like he's calling for all this stuff, and everybody just leaves, and then he just stops breathing for the guy, and he throws the BVM off. Like, are
Yeah.
we? Did you guys notice that or
No
not?
one else, they never came back into room, nothing.
No, it was
Yeah.
like it's kind of like when he's raking the leaves later on in the film, and he does like three rakes, and then he's just like that.
So, so yeah, right. Yeah. All right. So could so honestly, could that have been a scene that was cut short for rating? Because
Might have
Well,
it could
been.
have. I mean, it could have gotten very graphic, right?
Mhm.
uh,
So
yeah. So if they were gonna do that, I would have done like a cut scene or a fade out scene to show some elapsed time between that
yeah,
instead of just like eh or
yeah. I mean, yeah. But I definitely think that was probably
I know they
a
probably did it
decision.
time.
Yeah.
And Victor was like, you tried to save me. he didn't really try that hard. It didn't look like, but um, anyway,
I do love how they. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that that scene is very eerie. At least it was when I was a kid.
Well, yeah, they changed the way the camera is when they bring it up, right? They do that weird, like kind of slow mo, blurry.
It's
So you
almost
realize
shaky
that,
cam. It's almost shaky cam,
yes,
like
yeah, and
Blair
you
Witch.
realize the chaos of the situation, and it puts you right in the middle of it. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's chaotic, and you feel the chaos. Um, yeah, it was amazing.
You're talking
It,
about when
it,
you bring him in.
Yeah.
bringing them in up the stairs, yeah, just yeah, it was something so simple, and but so effective.
Mhm.
You're like, wait a second, like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Because you really couldn't tell. Now, again, maybe they were forced to do something like that because you couldn't really tell what it was. I don't know,
I think
but
they
the
could
way
have
they did it was
really
awesome.
done like a still shot, but it wouldn't have been as effective because you're right. It's almost like you're one of the students right in front of them, maybe holding the door or whatever for them.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
does. It's very choppy and chaotic, and it kind of gives you that sense of panic.
Did you
Yeah.
guys, with how many times you've seen it? Now, I haven't personally seen it myself, but I've heard that during that scene, when they're running through, on the little tack board in the back, there is a picture, like a public service announcement thing for rabies with Cujo on it.
I've heard that.
I
with the,
haven't
with the
seen
Saint
it, but I've
Bernard,
heard that.
with the
I
Saint Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Was it in the notes?
Oh, you got
It's in the
it?
note. It's in the notes. Yeah,
Did you see
Oh,
that?
right on.
Because I always see like I read about it, but I always forget to look for it.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's actually pretty easy to see in the 4K.
Oh,
So.
well, that came in the mail today.
Oh,
Thanks.
did it? Oh man, do you have it?
It's somewhere. Yeah, I think it's on the shelf.
Is
Yeah.
it this one?
No, I have that one too. It's a like a
No, I talked him in. I talked him into getting a 50th anniversary one.
35th.
Oh, 35th anniversary. What did I
Yeah,
say? 50th?
let's slow
I was
down.
looking at something. No.
50th
You're
is total
talking,
this
he,
year.
he's talking about The Exorcist.
Yeah, The
Oh,
Exorcist.
okay.
That's yeah, because we were looking at both.
Right on.
Uh, okay, so that scene goes by. That I think that's super eerie. Uh, then it kind of gets into Lewis being back at home and having the dream,
Yeah.
which it's realistic. Like when you see crazy shit out there, you have dreams about it, and I could see like not knowing what's real, what's not.
Hmm.
Um, I think during that dream is when Victor is kind of introduced as the protagonist,
Hmm.
or like the good angel.
That's what I was thinking was the good angel, whatever.
And they actually told him you were like a good angel. So on his script, he put, pictures of angels just to kind of remind him of his role.
Yeah,
And as a kid, I'm like, this is like a cool zombie. Like I want to be this guy.
yeah, right. Like he's like yeah, like I want this guy to be my friend.
I just want to walk around in the woods with my head split open and just like be the cool zombie.
Yeah.
But that being said, if he's the good angel, go ahead with your theory.
You want me to throw the theory out there right now?
I think if your theory is what I think it is,
Okay. All right. So
Mike's got a really interesting theory. And
oh no, again.
again, and I feel, Stevie, how do you feel? You feel like it deserves its own
I think so, yeah.
because there's no way anybody's going to make it this far into the video to hear this theory of yours. And I want
Yeah.
this theory to be out there because I think it's a good theory. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
Is that where you thought I was going?
It's not. No, it's not. It's not exactly where I thought you were going.
Oh, okay.
I mean, loosely, but okay. So anyway, let's back up. We were talking about Victor Pascal and how he's a good angel. Mary Lambert kind of, um, alluded that Judd was kind of like the dark angel leading Lewis through all this stuff. So,
Yeah.
and I watched the movie with that lens, like thinking that
Hmm.
Judd was like the bad angel.
Yeah.
And there's parts in the movie that he like has looks, and it's like, why is he looking so creepy like that?
Yeah. Yeah. When he's got the hood on and everything.
Yeah, but we can get into I really want to get into your theory, uh, but so we'll skip that part for now.
We'll skip. All right. All right. So it'll be a video after this video.
Yes. So,
So if you made it this far, you're gonna hear about our Judd theory.
oh yeah, the Judd, Mike's Judd theory.
Wait, hold on.
So,
People
uh,
are gonna think I'm insane.
that's all right. That's okay. Did you guys, um, did you notice the color yellow, how much is used in this film?
A
So
lot. Yellow and blue.
yellow and blue, yeah. So Gage is dressed in yellow a lot, in blue a lot, and there's
I noticed red too, though.
like blood.
Well, no. So he's flying the red kite,
Mhm.
and that's when the red truck came and killed him.
Yeah.
And Lewis wears the red mega
And he
hat.
wears the yes.
Can I finish my yellow theory though?
Yes.
So
Go
yellow
ahead.
is supposedly representative of death. So like the house is yellow. And when Rachel comes out holding Gage, they're both wearing yellow by the house. And um Misty Dandridge's dress has yellow flowers, and Gage's cat carrier is yellow. So everyone that dies is kind of has a connection to yellow. All the flowers in the not the theater, what's it called? In the funeral,
Yeah.
are yellow.
Wow.
And
I
then
did not catch on to I didn't know that though.
I
and
didn't
then
catch on to that either.
when Gage gets killed, he's wearing yellow. So there's a theory out there that yellow is representative of
Huh.
death.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I never knew that.
Nope.
That's right.
So
Now, I'm kind of jumping, I guess, here, but you brought up
You stop it.
the dress, the dress, the blue dress and Zelda and everything. What do you have any info about that picture?
yes.
Yes.
Uh,
Go ahead.
are we gonna jump ahead? So we're gonna go to where
Hold on, I'll have to find it.
do you want to jump ahead, Stevie?
No, you go
In
ahead.
your
Go,
guys'
go.
thought, just we're talking about the symbolism. I know that that has a lot of symbolism to it, but I wasn't sure. Like, I see it in the movie, but I don't know what it's meant, like what that it's meant for.
So
Yeah.
obviously it's Gage and Church in that picture, and Gage is in that weird blue kind of burial dress thing with the top hat. I think
Yeah.
it has a top hat in the picture.
Well, well the painting itself is not Gage. The painting itself is just a kid.
It is, but it's like foreshadowing of Gage because Church is right down by his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, a cat. So it's a kid
Correct.
and a cat. It's not meant to be Gage, but it's just kind of like a foreshadowing. But I guess they used to paint pictures of kids like dressed like adults or whatever for whatever reason. That's what Mary Lambert was saying in the commentary.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I just looked
And
at it
it
foreshadowing as Gage and Church together.
yeah, it's a very it's a to dress a child up in adult clothing is a really unnatural type of thing.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of what they were saying. They were saying like what's happening to Gage and to Church is an unnatural thing. Um
Is that why
and
Zelda's wearing it as well?
um
Because that
I
dress that
don't
Zelda's wearing, that's supposed to be what Gage is wearing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
match. They definitely match.
Yeah, they match. They match. Yeah. And it's funny. It's like I never really noticed it. I just kind of connected Gage to Zelda at first,
Mhm.
but it definitely connects to that painting as well. How when you're in that house, right? She's in the house, and even when she's at her parents' house, it's very old. It has all those pictures of people on the wall, of family members, that have all passed or whatever.
Mhm.
And it just gives you an uneasy feeling because it's not natural. Like you look at it and you go, what is that? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was like wondering, like, if if
It
there
it
was
definitely yeah, it's a
actual.
foreshadowing. It's a foreshadowing, and it definitely gives you that uneasy feeling, and it's a kind of a jump because I never really I didn't connect it as a kid, you know. But
No,
at the same time, I didn't think Gage dressed it. What's up?
I didn't notice it as a kid either. But we
Hmm.
were also watching VHS tapes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So like the clarity wasn't there. You definitely wouldn't you could see probably the kid, but you wouldn't be able to see the cat. Um oh, go ahead.
See, I guess I didn't realize. I thought Zelda wore green, but I guess she was in blue.
It was kind of they were matching. They matched on purpose because of
Okay.
this in Judd's house or
yeah. At the end,
when she's kind of like
Yeah.
tripping and she goes up and it's Zelda at first, but then Zelda turns into Gage.
Right.
It's,
Right.
it's the Wendigo messing with her head. But so yeah, they're
Yeah.
wearing the same thing. At least the
Yeah.
same
And the
outfit.
top hat and everything, which that could have, there's so many things in this that toe that line of being cheesy, but they were able to do it, which is awesome.
Mhm.
Because that could have come off really, really just like such an intense scene. It could have come off so just cheap, and it just takes you out of the scene, but it didn't because it
No,
was so weird.
yeah,
seemed like a
no,
little kid that was playing with a top hat and
Yeah.
uh cool fun fact about Gage, the guy that was doing his makeup was the boyfriend of Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and then they later got married, and then Miko ended up working with Nancy in A New Nightmare.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That would have made it like so much easier. I wonder if they like specifically went out to get Miko because of the connection. Like the
Yeah, I don't know. And I
connection.
don't know that Heather Langenkamp like met him on the set of Pet Cemetery or not. It didn't sound like it, but it's still a kind of a cool connection.
Yeah, yeah,
And Mary Lambert really pushed for him, and like she kind of talked about it where because of child labor laws, right? They can only have kids work two
2 hours.
hours at a time. So typically they get twins to do characters. But she pushed for Miko and was like, no, this is who we need.
Mhm.
And thank goodness she won out because I mean, it's just, I think about Child's Play, right? And I know that that's a big movie. I've never gotten into Child's Play. Um, I think that when Chucky attacks, it always comes off
Cheesy.
cheesy and funny to me, right?
yeah.
Um, but in this case, when literally I would say the same thing happens, I don't have that feeling,
No,
you know. Um,
but why? I don't understand why. Because I feel the same way, and it might be because it's like a real kid.
mhm.
You know, it might
Yeah,
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the story or the substance of the story. I don't know. Child's Play doesn't do it for me either, though.
Well, and you're not
no,
seeing it a
but
whole lot either. In Child's Play, it's like the whole movie is that. So it's hokey
yeah,
because you're seeing it so much. Whereas this movie, it's just a couple minutes.
especially in Spanish, it's awesome. Anyways,
Well, okay.
you, it's so great. But anyways, so well, real quick about Miko is that So he's also another little fun fact. He's the truck driver in the funeral derangements video by Ice Nine Kills.
I don't know that I saw that video, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
They're all kind of a
yeah.
part of the same horror convention circuit, so they
Mhm.
all kind of know each other, I think. Um,
Yeah. Um, but so I mean, we've jumped around, whatever. Nobody's watching anyway. So I think what makes the fight between Gage and Lewis different is that it's almost believable that Gage is able to do all that stuff to him because at the same time, Lewis is thinking to himself, "This is my son," and he doesn't want to hurt him.
mhm.
Uh, so even while he's stabbing him, he's like, "I." He sees him as Gage still because I mean, obviously, he has that look. Uh, so I think that kind of and then the camera work on it is amazing too.
Yeah, and they switch between using Miko and a doll.
Mhm.
Like, and I was really trying to pay attention to which was which. They do a really
Which
good job. You can't
it's no.
kind
Mm-mm.
of
Yeah.
tell if you watch it really close, but
I
um,
was paying attention to the scene where they went for that hike to the pet cemetery when he has
Mhm.
him on the backpack because I knew he had like the doll on the backpack for stuff of that. I didn't see the doll once in that shot in that scene.
the editing's really good in that film.
Oh, the
The
editing's amazing.
there is a continuity error when Lewis goes out at nighttime in the beginning after the tire swing falls and Church runs down the tree and
Mhm.
hisses at him. The tire swing is hung back up.
Yeah.
Maybe he hung it back up. I think it's continuity error. I would have left it back
I
up.
mean, you could have hung it back up.
But they killed it with the continuity when uh, Rachel loses her shoe when she gets hung at the end and then comes back from the grave and she's only wearing one shoe. They
Hmm.
really, really did a good job. There
Yeah.
are very few errors.
How crazy is it that I don't know if you guys caught on to this or not. No, I'm sure you did, but that they love that house so much, but they had to dig up that big tree and
Mhm.
replant it in these people's front yard because they wanted a tire swing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Went through all
That's
that work for
crazy.
that tree. I mean, that's just crazy to me.
I guess they
That
tried.
was literally part of one scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't even that long. That's it's a big tree.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't really touch on Zelda much at all.
And that's my one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Zelda.
Oh God, Zelda scared the crap out of me when I was a kid the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah, that might be the creepiest part of the movie.
So
She's
when
the creepiest. Well, he.
yeah, so Zelda was played by a guy named well, I guess he was probably a kid, maybe a young man named
Yeah.
Andrew, and I don't want to mess up his last name, Hubatsek or something like that. I don't really know how to say it. He's not watching, I'm sure. So,
Hooba
uh,
stank.
whatever it is, he fucking killed the role. Zelda was hard for me to watch as a kid. There were a couple
Oh.
characters in horror that it was almost too much for me to watch. One was Kane from Poltergeist 2,
Oh,
scared
yeah.
shit out of me, and Zelda. Like, I'm still lightweight worried that Zelda is somewhere in this house.
Mhm. She is.
It's scary, dude. But the cool thing about Zelda was the grad how it gradually got you. It wasn't like first time you see Zelda, you just kind of have that uneasy feeling. But when you get to like that second scene and it's that quick, it's like, oh my
Yes. Yes.
God. And
Yep.
then the last one just terrifies you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the last one, when she's in the corner, and
Hmm.
and you hear her, and you don't really see her until she kind of like moves a little bit, and you see her in the
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Dude.
she's feeding her, and this is coming. Oh,
Oh yeah. So are you do you it's kind of rude, but I think Mary Lambert could have played Zelda without a lot of makeup. She looked just like Zelda.
kind of fucked up.
But it's true,
wow.
not?
Wow.
Seriously, I'm not saying it in a mean way. If you look at her, And look at Zelda, especially at the time frame when they filmed the movie. She has more weight to her, not much, because she was a super skinny girl, but she looks just like Zelda. Like the facial.
Maybe like I don't know.
You got, dude, you gotta bring it up. You got, get a picture of her, get a picture of Zelda, put it side by side.
I'll put it in right here.
I'm telling you,
Guys, let me know what you think.
she
All right.
looks like Zelda.
She is not
I'm
going
a
to stand in this video.
no.
I'm not being a jerk. I'm just, I was just curious about that, like, because I don't know. I don't know if that was like a purposeful thing, you know? Because maybe she was going to play that part at one point, just never said anything.
I don't think that was purposeful. I think it was I think
So she actually talks about that in her commentary that they tried to find young girls, and every girl that they found that was small and skinny, like they ended up being, she said, too cute,
Mhm.
and adorable.
Uh,
So that's why they finally had to go with um a boy, like a really skinny boy,
he did
because
awesome.
oh yeah, and I think that I think a lot of what makes Zelda is that gaunt jawline, and oh man,
Mhm.
just
He definitely did that perfect. And that's another thing, like you said, about it could have been so cheesy and it could have been
yes,
messed up, but it just got scarier and scarier.
yeah.
Oh, she freaked me out when I was a kid when I first saw that movie.
We've pretty much touched on all the characters. And I want to ask you guys each, what's your favorite character in the film?
The dad.
No, that's not true.
No. Um, ooh, favorite character.
Mhm.
I I gotta go Judd. I really like Judd in this movie.
I man,
I just want to give him a big hug.
yeah, it's either him or Pascal. Ah, gosh, I think it's got to be Judd. I think without him, I'm not gonna say this movie's bad, but he,
I mean, you have Gage to pick from too.
I hear you, I hear you, but I feel like
Gage is a
I don't
little
know.
brat. He's great in the movie, but he's a little brat. I'm not gonna have no kid throwing food around in my house like that.
Man, Steve just throwing it out.
Get out of here.
Uh,
Um, I
so
think
we're
I
going,
gotta go. I gotta go Judd, and I feel that that's probably the normal answer from people, but he's
I'll
just
say
so good.
Judd because everybody quotes him. Pascal is very close. Uh, Zelda was in the movie for such a short period of time.
Yeah,
It's
yep,
such.
and so memorable.
You were talking about how Gage was kind of a brat and throwing food. There was some foreshadowing. I don't know if you guys caught. He's got a toy truck
Mhm.
and he's running in the living room and he runs it into something like a box or something. Did you guys catch that?
Mm-mm.
Like got a handle on the back and he's
Oh,
like,
it looks like a almost like a bike thing or whatever. Like comes up with the handle. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Little foreshadowing. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but
I was like thinking of a little truck like this, but then when,
yeah.
yeah, I do remember that.
So I don't know. There's a lot of like little things that I wonder if were intentional.
You know what else was really gave me the chills in this movie too, though, was Timothy, whatever.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
whole scene with the arm digging. Oh
Yeah,
my God, dude.
the
Like,
leg. Somebody actually just bought that. I saw it
oh, it
on
was a leg. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, because the shoe and the sock. You see the shoe and the
yeah,
sock. That's right.
a girl's
I'm
leg.
sorry.
Um, yeah, that was the flashback when he's talking. When
yep.
anybody ever bury an adult up there or a person up there. Um, there's a cool thing about that scene, and I don't know if you guys ever caught this when they are burning down the house and he's inside. he says something. Do you guys know what he says?
Who does?
Timmy Baterman.
Mhm.
He says something?
He does. And it's a nod to Frankenstein. He says, "Love dead, hate living." And
Really?
it's a nod to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I didn't hear him say that.
So
Wow.
if you go back and watch just that scene, you'll hear him say that when he's wrestling with his dad or whoever.
Does
It,
the subtitles, do the subtitles pick it up?
I don't know. I didn't watch it with subtitles on.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
See,
interesting.
that what stands out so much to me in that part is where Judd's yelling to him, get out of the house. It's burning, like he's supposed to be like what, late teen, early 20s at this point. He must have been a huge smoker back then too, because he still has that voice.
I appreciate that they kept the same voice.
Hey Bill, hurry up. Get out of there, the
Yeah.
house is burning.
That's what
It's
people
like,
sounded like back then.
we want you to know that this is Judd.
Wow. That was crazy to me because I like that's what stands out to me in that part was his voice.
Mhm.
But Timmy Baterman freaked me out the first time I saw that when he like turned around, he's
Yeah.
like and the blood running down his. Oh my gosh, I was like, wow, because this is. I mean, you had Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and all that, but like you guys said, this is different. It was they're not zombies.
No,
They're just shell of people.
this
It's
is
it's
shell
weird.
of what they were controlled by the Wendigo.
And it
Yeah.
just gave me the chills when I saw that first time too.
Mhm.
Not like Zelda, but it was definitely like, wow, that's eerie.
And he starts chasing the woman into the house when she's smacking her
Rug.
her rug or whatever it was. Yeah,
This movie, I think this came out in
80.
89, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was 10 years old when this movie came out.
Yeah.
So I was probably 11 when I seen it, I would guess, because I saw it as soon, like I didn't see it in the theaters, so maybe 12 because it took a while for VHS tapes to come out.
Yeah.
Right.
But I remember the very first time I saw this movie. I don't know if you guys remember. That's how much this movie stuck with me growing up. I can remember the very first time I seen it. And we played there was this little neighborhood where a bunch of my friends lived in. Todd Hoke lived there actually. And we were watching me and my buddy else. We had like a sleepover, or whatever, and we were watching horror films. But that one we never saw. We sat and watched Pet Cemetery. As soon as we were done watching that movie, we would always play night tag. There's a cemetery right in front of these people's house.
Wow.
It's in Ritztown on you always drove past it, Matt. On in Ritztown on uh is it Talmadge Road? Maybe Talmadge Road, going towards my old house. Big, big cemetery off to the left.
It's
And
probably 18, yeah.
we would play night tag in the cemetery. We watched Pet Cemetery, play night tag. Dude, it was the eeriest night ever. Because all I could think of was this movie. And to this day, I can look back at this film and see these scenes just like I just watched them yesterday. It's just that clear to me. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Most movies don't do that with me, This movie is that good. It like sticks with you.
So, something I want to talk about, and I want to get his name right. The guy that did the score, Elliot Goldenthal, is that his name?
I just watched that documentary and I know it's Elliot, but I don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Yeah, Goldenthal. Uh, he did an amazing job on the score. Sometimes I'll just spin it on my record player just to like listen to it, but I
Hmm.
also have it on my phone. Um, there was a cat that gave birth to some stillborn kittens, and you guys know that I got a little bit of property here, and in the back, everybody always wants to bury their animals in the back property. Well, these ones I was asked to take back there and bury, so I did, and it was nighttime. It was probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 o'clock at night by the time I did this. I'm like, I'm gonna put this Pet
Yeah.
Cemetery soundtrack in. So I'm walking back there. Now, and it's kind of a little walk to get back there. I got these two dead kittens in a little bag and a shovel, and I'm listening to the Pet Cemetery soundtrack, and I get back and I'm digging this hole, and it got to a point in that soundtrack, and I'm doing this thing with these dead cats or dead kittens. I'm like, I can't do this. I gotta listen to something else. I felt like so freaked out.
Yeah,
Next time you guys are over, we have to go out back in the woods and listen to that soundtrack.
we did.
Did we?
You told me
Oh,
this
we did.
story
That's
because
right.
Oh
someone in
man.
the neighborhood was burning trees or something, and we were hanging out back, and
Well, that's different because we drove back there that time.
you were playing the music, and you told me the story.
Yeah, so we were sitting in my truck, but like being out there without any kind of protection of a vehicle with
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
forgot
it
this stuff.
yeah,
Don't.
And you've got like the wide open area, and then all of a sudden it's like wooded,
yeah.
you know? And so yeah.
So like I'd say I definitely creep myself out by doing that, but
Yeah,
I love that I could still have that feeling.
it's
And
Yeah.
awesome, isn't it?
I don't have I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, there's not a lot of any kind of emotion. Like I don't feel like happiness or sadness. I just kind of exist, you know? I don't get scared.
Yeah.
Uh, but that was like, oh, this is really eerie and kind of fucked up because I have dead
Mhm.
kids in this bag.
And it makes you smile and happy, doesn't it?
Uh,
Yeah.
it makes me kind of like it makes me kind of smile because it's like, oh, I can still feel that.
I can still get creeped out.
Yeah, it kind of took me back to when like the first time I saw Zelda.
Hmm.
Nice.
You get that like spine tingle. It's like,
Yeah,
Those images just pop in your head.
that's awesome. That is
That
that
is
is
awesome.
a great thing there.
um, another reason I really relate to this film is Gage looked very much like my little cousin Ryan when he was that age. So Ryan was Gage's age when that movie came out, and like I said, so I grew up with my mom, and there wasn't any other siblings, and my dad lived somewhere else. So my Aunt Julie and my Uncle Danny had two kids, Amanda and Ryan, and it was kind of like that kind of family. So it was kind of relatable in that sense. But Ryan looked just like Gage to me. And it was kind of like and my Aunt Julie is actually the one that made me watch Pet Cemetery for the first time.
Nice.
Wow.
I remember seeing it at her house.
That's awesome.
Do you remember the first time you saw it, Mike?
I don't.
No?
I don't.
Do you think you
I know I was so you know, my guess is that it was on HBO. I feel I mean if I really think about it and I'm conjecturing because I don't really know, but I feel like it was probably in my bedroom and I watched it uh and it probably scared the shit out of me. And you know, in my bedroom that had the blue walls,
Mhm.
I had that little ass TV.
The
Um,
first bedroom, the one upstairs.
yep,
That one you
yeah,
go.
not the second bedroom yet. Um,
The basement bedroom was awesome.
oh, dude, the basement bedroom. That was awesome. That was fantastic. Um,
You had your Teenage
but
Mutant
yeah, I mean, going. Oh, go ahead.
you had your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sheets in that blue bedroom.
Yep.
What it was turtles, wasn't it?
Well, I had the NFL sheets, and then I had turtle sheets,
Yeah.
and I was probably up under them. So with your thing about Zelda, out of everything I remember as a kid, that was Zelda was the thing that stuck out to me more than anything.
Hmm.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, and
And you couldn't
it's
hide in
crazy.
that, like you said, throwing your sheets over your face to hide it because you still heard her.
No,
And
because
it's just scary to hear her.
the visual, yeah, the visual, man,
Hey,
even
under those
more than
sheets.
Pascal. What?
She might be under the sheets. You don't know.
I know that. Oh my goodness, because she's in the bed. She's
Yeah.
in a bed and she's oh yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking
that's
of that,
So speaking of Zelda,
okay.
did you know that somebody made a rap song about Zelda?
No.
no.
Yeah. So there's a rap song about Zelda. Let me see. So the name of the rapper is Cage, and
I know Cage.
the name of the song is Ballad of Worms.
All right.
No
Yeah.
way. I
Yeah.
have that album on my phone.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. But I never paid
This
attention to lyrics or anything.
the song is called Ballad of Worms.
That is also that makes sense because his music's all about like horror movies and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
it's about Zelda. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and listen to that. Now that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta
And I listened to it. I'm like, oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
That's phenomenal. I'm gonna go back and check it out because I never did
Um,
it.
send
so
it.
I mean, I don't know. I guess we can get some fun facts about it now. I'm
Well,
sure that oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to talk about one more thing that made me cringe. We were talking about beds. The first time I saw an Achilles tendon's cut, that
Oh, yeah, yeah. We need to talk about that. Yeah, for sure.
That's nothing compared to the other scene. Go ahead.
Oh, oh, I got that on here. An hour 25 minutes in.
what where he hits his head on the dresser.
Man,
Hour 25 minutes and 45 seconds.
that
Woo!
is
Dude,
horrible scene.
the
Horrible scene.
single worst scene in horror movie history.
I really want to show you guys the Wendigo. I'll do a separate video in that, but we're in Judd's bedroom. You know Gage is in there. Poor old Judd's looking around for him. Gage, you in there? Blah blah blah. They man, Gage just takes that scalpel, just cuts his Achilles tendon.
Uh,
Ugh.
yeah. Oh,
And then I mean, look at
And
his
then
face.
that, but
Look at that. Look what they
yeah.
did.
So they double down, right? So they get the tendon, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then
Yeah,
they double down and they get the part where you feel it because we've all had a, and it is gonna sound funny, but we've all had a paper cut.
yeah.
And like
yeah.
This is way worse.
this, but
Oh, yeah.
but you can oh my oh
He's like
Actually,
choking on his own blood as he's falling over.
actually triples down because then Gage bites his trachea,
yes, yeah, yeah.
and actually you could see it on Suckface Studios sculpt. The trachea is open, and I guess that when Gage did that initially, he thought he hurt Fred Gwynn, and he
Mhm.
started crying. So they had to say, no, he's okay. He's just playing.
Well, he
This is
didn't he
fun.
like scare him on purpose, and then he felt bad after.
I don't know if that's what made him cry or what, but
I thought he said in that like interview, he said like he thought he'd play a prank on him. He wasn't really thinking. And when he bit down, it scared him, and then he felt really bad. He had to comfort him and apologize and stuff. He felt horrible that he scarred him.
uh, I
But
love this movie so much. All right. Do you want to jump into the fun facts?
that's
I mean, I could jump into some fun facts. I got stuff all over the place.
Yeah, hit
All
it.
right, so it's. I mean, I'm sure people know it, but if they're still watching, I'm sure they know it. They're probably thinking, all right, they haven't talked about this yet. So I got some information. One place I went to was Den of Geek. Um, so do you know who the film rights were originally sold to
Um,
of Pet Cemetery? Who was supposed to originally direct the movie?
oh yes. Oh wait, did you say George Romero
yeah,
Yeah.
before him? Before
So he
him.
originally was sold the rights for $10,000 to Pet Cemetery, but he had to pull out because he did the movie Monkey Shines, right? So I thought that was interesting.
Do you know who was supposed to do it before
Um,
him?
I don't.
I
He
don't
just
know.
said no. Tom Savini.
Oh,
Oh,
Thompson, you're supposed to do it.
He just straight up said no.
Hmm,
that's interesting.
I wonder why.
Um, And so
Yeah.
another thing that's probably common knowledge, but again, we probably should talk about it, is that this is basically all based on facts, like basically based on a loosely on a true story, right?
Mhm.
Of Stephen King and his son Owen.
Yeah, there were a couple different things like him running towards the road and
And he's like, I saved them, but what if I didn't?
Mhm.
How would that feel? You know, um, that's that's wild to think about.
That would be scarring. That'd
Yeah,
be
and he
scarring.
actually said that when he was writing this book, it scared him, so he put it away for a while because he thought no one would want to read something that dark. Turns out it's my favorite thing from him.
Yeah, right? Didn't a
Um,
couple things happen like that from the movie happen in real life with that? Like, well, the kid, but like the daughter's cat died or something at the time frame of filming this, or like, or when he was writing it.
He had a dog, and they actually put a tombstone in the pet cemetery
oh
for.
yeah,
I can't remember which dog it was.
it was the first tombstone they showed, and it was like he put like a saying on it or something like that.
It wasn't Biffer. Biffer,
Oh,
Biffer.
wasn't Bifford?
I don't think so. I forget, but they
I
put
forget too.
a dog in the cemetery. Biffer, Biffer,
Um,
the sniffer.
yeah. So all
I
right.
thought like
So
his
so I'll get back
daughter's.
to the facts.
Oh,
What's
sorry.
up?
I thought his daughter's cat died or something, like while he was writing a book, and he made like you guys are saying, but he made a there was like a tombstone for her, and he had to explain the whole death thing to her, like they had to do
Might have been a cat.
with its name was like it was something weird like Chavo or some weird name like that. But I thought it was just like how they had to talk to Ellie, with about church,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, you're probably that makes sense.
But I don't know. I wonder if he was like all hooked on coke at this time frame. If this was that time frame when he was like doing the coke and that's what.
By the way, that cemetery is so I'm guessing you probably visited that cemetery, Matt.
I did, and it was. I mean, it wasn't a cemetery. It was just. It was in Ellsworth. It's actually right next to like a little hotel, and it's
Okay.
just like an opening in the woods. Smucky is the cat's name. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Chavo Smucky.
Cabos.
Listen,
Chavo Smucky.
Yeah, so you kind of just like walk into this area, and it used to be opened up. I went and I got some dirt from there. There was a lady that I went to meet in Bar Harbor. Her name's Carlene Hirsch. She was the lead greens. I wanted her to sign my poster because I felt like the the scenes, the houses and the cemeteries were like a character. And they said
oh,
that
absolutely.
truck was even like a character. But she did such a good job. And she works at a restaurant now. And um I went there and she sat down and she talked to me about the movie, and she was like, ask me any questions, and she's just like telling me about working with Fred Gwynn. It was super cool.
That's all.
Wow, that's awesome.
Big part of what she did was make sure that that cemetery looked good all the time. And then
Yeah.
she also um she did the stuff with Judd's house when it became poisoned or possessed or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He had to make everything look, destroyed.
Weird and yeah.
And then they had to do a reshoot from when the house looked good again, so they had to fix everything back up just for
Is
that.
Jeez.
girl the one that was talking about cutting the piano in half or whatever in
Uh,
the documentary?
that was not her,
Oh, okay.
but I remember somebody talking about the antique organ
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had to cut the bottom off of.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been to both places, and then the Micmac burial ground. is not just over the deadfall and up some path. It's it's far away.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, they made it seem far away in the movie.
I mean, you got to drive there.
Right. But I mean, the way she did it, and we haven't really even talked about that, right?
We're
So,
almost there. Oh,
You got
you talk about things being characters, something as simple as that path. You can picture that path in your head.
Mhm.
Uh, and then the beyond the dead wood,
Yeah.
everything changes, right? So everything's fine on this side of it, but then you cross over and everything changes. Like just the scenes that they did traveling along those rocks. Um,
There's like
which the only part that I probably oh go ahead. Go ahead.
those rocks. That's a totally separate spot. So when
Right.
they're walking up the one path, it's got the roots. That's in Acadia National Park, and that spot's not even really there anymore. They paved it so people could walk up it. The rocks that they're climbing up is on a quarry
Mm-hmm.
that you kind of have to park and then kind of go through like these woods and then climb up. That's a really cool spot. Um, but like I said, that Micmac burial ground, that's I don't know, a half a mile hike kind of through these old blueberry fields, and then you get up on this plateau. It's weird, man. When you get up there, you just feel I don't know. I felt like I was at Micmac.
Yeah.
The air just changed. It's just this flat opening, and you could oversee a big part of Maine. It's cool.
is it a winery or was it a winery or something?
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe like way back in the day. That's grapes. These are blueberries. But they're weird. So you know how like the blueberries I have here are on these bushes?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
These are like on the ground, like really small bushes. I don't know. It's very
Hmm.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the director, she said that she searched out these places to make it seem like this is a trek,
Mhm.
and she definitely did that. Um, the only part that I'm kind of I don't know I'm iffy about is when he sees that vision.
Oh, the face coming up from the rocks.
That- yeah,
Father-in-law?
What?
His father-in-law's face that comes up.
Was
yeah,
it the father-in-law?
Yeah.
yeah. That's the only part that I'm just kind of like, I mean, it could have done without that, but
It's impressive. Uh,
yes,
Judd was climbing up those rocks for that scene.
yes. Hmm.
With him being
Interesting.
older and tall he is, and everything, just hopping up them rocks like that would be scary. What if he twisted his ankle?
What's
I
crazy
mean,
is I climbed up those with Lou Dog strapped to me.
Really?
Yeah.
that's funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was kind of crazy. She was like a puppy, and I had her in a newspaper bag.
But still, that had to have been sketchy.
It was pretty sketchy because I was like climbing with one hand and making sure she was
Yeah,
a.
yeah. That's definitely seems like a tight squeeze there.
You know, uh, I like that scene where the father-in-law's face comes up
Yeah.
because it brings back the uh, the funeral and
Okay.
that like visceral reaction that they had to each other. You know, I
That's.
mean,
I mean, yeah.
it was a very real, um, depressing time, and then it was just kind of brought back up into his face when he's about to do something crazy.
It was done weird though, because like I don't know. I mean, we know now, but I can imagine people seeing that having no idea who that was.
Yeah, I didn't put that
You
together.
know?
I
Tell
don't
you
Yeah.
the
think I
truth.
knew like when I was a kid watching it.
Yeah.
It's just some weird face, but it's definitely he's tripping out thinking about his father-in-law and the funeral. That's why I appreciate it.
Right on.
It couldn't have worked with any other character. Like if they put Pascal in there, it wouldn't have worked as good. I don't know.
Yeah. It
I
might have.
I think this is a nearly perfect movie for me.
Yeah. Um. So before I have a couple more fun facts, but so one thing that was really great, and I love how they did it, and they made it look so real, was when he killed Church. And I
Yeah.
don't know why I love that so much, but it's like,
Oh,
the Church is eating, and then he just pulls up Church, and then you just see the lifeless eyes.
Mhm.
Um, it just looks so real. It's crazy. It's just practical effects, man.
they did like what, 7 cats for this movie? Seven
I think
different
they said
versions.
they like 8 to 10 cats, like an insane amount of cats.
They
But
all did different things.
Yeah,
yeah,
one
The
cat
cats.
ran
That's
up the tree and hissed. Another cat did something else.
yeah.
Dropped the dead rat in the bathtub. That part was
And they
good.
explained how they did the eyes. Like that's actually the cat's eyes. Like they did some kind of reflection, and
I
Yeah,
see him behind Matt.
right there.
yeah, look at that.
Evil looking thing.
So, do you guys know who they thought about? So this is I got this off of, oh man, I wish I did so good with getting my sources here. Who was considered for Lewis?
I don't know.
So speculation is that somebody that was considered for Lewis was Bruce Campbell.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
I tried to look up more information, but I just saw that the rumor is that yeah, Bruce Campbell was in consideration for Lewis.
I would have hated.
That would
So
be crazy.
I don't know, So hey, we go to a convention, we gotta if he's there, you gotta ask him. You gotta say, hey, were you in consideration for Pet Cemetery?
His line is always insanely long, though. I'm not waiting in that line.
It's probably a thing he doesn't even know it. It's probably just the writers or something knew it. They never even got in touch with him. They were like, let's have Bruce
Right?
Campbell play this part, but they're like, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Um, man. So you speak of the soundtrack. I mean, we got to talk about the Ramones.
Moans.
Just
Yeah, throughout
yeah,
the book, Lewis is singing Hey Ho, Let's Go. He's singing the Ramones
mhm,
in his head throughout the
mhm.
book. And then they use Sheena as the punk rocker for the truck scene.
Yep.
And then uh, they gave the Ramones either a copy of the film or a copy of the script.
The book.
The book. Was it the book?
Well,
Stephen
And
King gave it to Dee Dee.
Dee Dee wrote Pet Cemetery, the song, in about 45 minutes, which is awesome. It's one of my favorite Ramones.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a great song.
And
It's
it's
so good.
been covered, and they covered it for the remake. Uh, but the original, it's definitely one of my favorite Ramones songs.
Ugh,
Yes, I
so
agree.
awesome.
So,
Yes.
we got any more fun facts, or should we rate this?
I mean, I told you about the rapper. I mean, I don't really have a lot more fun facts, but I have my theory, which I guess will be in another video.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
You're making me do another video for.
We didn't talk about the 3 different endings that they were going to do.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The endings for sure. Yep, yep.
That's something that we
and
Yeah,
could.
go ahead.
he deviated completely from the book. Uh,
Mhm. But Stephen King. So they said that Stephen King signed off on everything.
I love that Stephen King was a part of this, and he insisted that it be shot in Maine. I
Yeah,
love that, and you can tell that he had his hands in this versus like the new film. This says Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. The new
Yep.
film is just Pet Cemetery.
Well, he took his name off it
Did he
right
intentionally?
before it came. I
Oh,
think he intentionally took his. Or no, wait. I'm sorry. I don't know if he took his name off of this one or maybe the sequel. Maybe it was the sequel. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not gonna say one way or the other, but he definitely took his name off of either the sequel or the new one.
the sequel surprises me because Mary Lambert did it as well, but it's completely different. The cemetery looks different. I
yeah,
like it for nostalgic reasons, but that's it. It doesn't come close to the original.
no.
No.
But
I don't think of it
you
as
want
like.
to talk about the endings real quick?
Yeah, talk about the ending, Steve.
So, well, yeah, I guess they shot like what did they shoot all three or was it written? That I think I don't know.
So I know they definitely did one where Lewis was just he like everybody died and they just had him alone. And that didn't test well with audiences.
They said it was too lame or whatever, so they had to get like
Yeah.
a shocking
Yeah.
ending, which I
That's the
like.
only one I know though.
They did the ending for that's in the movie. That was
Mhm.
one of them. Another ending was basically the same as what we've seen, but instead of the slime and stuff, there's like you think that the wife is normal and okay, but a bug comes crawling out of her ear. And then the other ending that I heard about was she comes in a house and the phone is ringing and she picks up and answers it and it's her daughter and she's doing her thing like throughout the movie. Where's dad? I had a dream, blah blah blah. And the mom's like, everything's good, we're fine, gets her off phone, lets her know everything's good, gets off phone, hangs up, and turns and looks at the screen and smiles, and her teeth are like all messed up and gross, and she gives like this real nasty, sinister smile, and
Hmm.
it like
That,
ends the
that
show.
that's pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
that I would like to see those. I don't. Did they film them?
no, I don't think they filmed them. See, that's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
They actually talked about. I thought it was in that documentary that we watched. I don't know, but I know that like the a lot of the scenes that they did shoot and didn't put in or delete are gone. Like they're not able to get them. Like we're not
Heard
going to
that. Yeah.
see
That's
deleted scenes in the movie and stuff. So if they did shoot it, we're not going to see it, because it's
Yeah.
all messed up. But they did do a thing. If it wasn't on that thing we watched, I watched like a storyboard drawing of the evil smile one,
I think I might have seen that.
and I would have loved to have seen that. I think that would have been
That
eerie.
sounds pretty awesome. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, for
That would
sure.
be eerie, but yeah, I know they did those for that ending, and I don't know why they chose to go with the pus face one, but
Well, I mean, visually,
that's
visually,
when we
it's.
got.
I mean, visually, it's pretty. And then he kisses her like
Oh yeah,
it.
it's
It's
beautiful, but I
definitely.
don't know what. I mean, the ending we got, I think, ultimately would have been better because when she answers the phone and stuff, Lewis isn't in the room. It's just her.
Mhm.
So you're going to be guessing what happened to Lewis, I guess, at that point,
Yeah.
because he's just gone
Yeah.
at that point. So they had to do this one because you had to see that there's that between
Right.
the two of them. So it
Yeah.
makes sense, but I would love that would have been scary, I think, her look over and
Oh yeah, for
that's
sure.
looking like.
Um, you talked about Ellie a little bit, and we didn't really touch on this, but so in the book, she's it's definitely that she's psychic, but it's never really talked about in the movie, but
Just
it's
her
definitely
dreams,
alluded.
yeah.
What?
Just like her dreams, like she's seeing things
Yeah.
in her when she's
So
sleeping.
it's
Yeah.
kind of alluded to, but it's never really like brought up, right? So she can definitely see everything.
She's got the shine.
I was just gonna say that.
She's got the shine,
It's like The Shining.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
he does that. He'll cross like he did with Cujo on
Yep.
the board. He'll cross universes sometimes.
Yep.
So that's completely possible that that's what it is.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, she
Oh
got the
man.
shine. Where's Dick Halloran at?
What else was there? I know that they hired like what 500 people from the town to be in this movie.
Yeah,
They casted 500 people, so they gave all that
like
to the town.
young Rachel was a townie, and young Judd was a
Yeah.
townie, and then all the
Did you see that video where the young Judd was like getting yelled at
yeah,
because
because he kept calling his dog Judd.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They're like, no, 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 you're Judd.
the dog is Spot.
Yeah, this
You're
poor
Judd.
kid. This poor kid. I do have a little tidbit thing here, which you guys probably already know, but Judd's dog is Spot.
Mhm.
Do you guys know what his pet's name was in the Munsters?
No.
Nope.
Spot.
Hey,
It was a baby dragon. It was Spot.
Oh, well,
I
shit.
don't I don't really know the monsters.
No,
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 I didn't watch
sorry.
it that much. I saw a couple, I if it was on, I'd watch it, but I never really
I
seek
just found it neat that,
it. Is-
So
he's,
yeah. So speaking of him, right? So I guess the director said he was a pretty young guy in this, but he seems super old. And I guess that they had to color his hair gray
Yeah,
because he had jet black hair.
he
And
was
and
young.
every couple weeks, that's what they said, that his hair was jet black and it would grow back really fast. And every couple weeks, every 2 weeks, they had to color it again gray.
He died in 92.
I'm just saying
well, so
what she said.
My Cousin Vinny, when did that movie come out?
What?
My Cousin Vinny?
Oh, I don't know when that came out.
I mean, he looked younger in that just because his hair was dark.
Yeah. But that's what she was saying. Like his hair was like jet black,
That's crazy.
right?
I
I'm
guess he
gonna,
wrote some kids' books too. Fred Gwynn wrote
I'm
some.
not saying he was young. This was direct from the
oh yeah, yeah.
director's mouth.
I mean, that's awesome though. I mean, that'd be
How
awesome to
old
have.
was he when
Yeah.
he died?
Um, yeah, he wasn't that old. He died, he was 66 when he died.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Born in 1926 and died in 1993. I'm sorry, it wasn't 92, it was 93.
So
That's
he was
wild. That's wild to think.
cemetery.
26 to 93, 60.
And My Cousin Vinny came out after Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary was 89 and My Cousin Vinny was 92. So
Oh,
he died a year after shooting My Cousin Vinny. Wow.
the two Utes.
The
That's crazy.
Utes.
Wouldn't that be awesome? You have jet black hair your whole life and just die with it.
Oh,
Never have to worry about white. But I think that his white hair made him look like, if his hair was black in the movie, I wouldn't have, like, I don't think I would have
no.
been all about it, The
It,
white hair
it would have been,
definitely made him like your grandpa figure, You just want to sit on front
yeah.
porch and chill with them,
Yeah.
Just drink beer
That's
with them.
awesome though. That's crazy.
Here's to your bones, Doc.
Yep.
So what are you guys gonna rate this movie at? Out of 10. I'm gonna start this off. I gave Nightmare on Elm Street a 9 out of 10, I believe. This is right there. It's 9 out of 10 for me. This is one of my favorite horror films.
Um, I would probably give this one 7.5 for me.
That's low.
Seven and a
Damn.
half.
All right.
I mean,
Wow.
the movie's great. I love the movie, but
Dale Mick fucked it up for you.
no, I don't know. It was, I think it goes with that whole, like we were saying at the beginning, about Mike was saying, I don't know if this you really call it horror, and I said a thriller, you
Mhm.
know. The movie's scary, but to me, it's not the a horror film, you know. And they say that, this came out like after the slasher days, which
Hmm.
are my favorite movies, my genre. I love slasher movies. This came out like when The Terminator was coming out in theater, all these sci-fi movies. So it was like, almost like a dramatic, like a drama type thriller. I
Hmm.
like those movies, but it doesn't. I don't know. 7.5, I give it, but a good 7.5 because I mean it's a great film, scary, but it's just not Leatherface to me.
Mike,
9.5.
damn.
Um,
Wow.
the only half point off is that scene where the head comes out of the rock.
That's it?
Listen, I love that you can't really define this movie as a horror movie, a drama, a thriller. I love that part. I love that it defied all convention, that it's different from everything.
Okay,
I love that it still holds up. I love that I love that inanimate objects are characters. I love that something as little as, I mean, for the movie, Zelda isn't even really a main part of the movie. But for something like that to stick with you and literally probably wasn't on the screen for more than a minute if you really took the time. Um, I just for all those reasons, the subtlety of the kills, but the way they were able to make Gage terrifying, but still look like a little kid is phenomenal to me. I still can't believe I sit there and watch it and I go, I can't believe this kid looks like this cute little kid, but the way they did it, it's crazy.
let me try to sell you on something.
Sell me on something?
Yeah. The face coming out of the rocks, you know, is the father-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay. Lewis went through the most traumatic event of his life with
Yes.
being there watching his kid get hit. But then the draw out of the funeral and the dread of the funeral, and then to have the father-in-law place the blame on him,
Yeah.
which would be a traumatic thing in itself. Like, am I the reason that my kid is dead because I couldn't run fast enough or I turned around and watch him? And then to have that altercation with someone who's supposedly like in your family and is supposed to be, you know, a father type figure to you.
Yeah.
That's a traumatic thing. So when he
It
is
is.
going to go bury the kid that he feels guilt for, he's climbing up these rocks, and the guy that made him feel guilty for his dead kid, he sees his face in the rocks yelling at him.
Yeah.
It's not that cheesy. Now
I
maybe
mean,
maybe the
the idea the idea of it isn't cheesy. Uh I don't know. Just maybe
would
how it looked.
would it so it might just be because it looks
Yeah.
the effect.
Yeah.
But if he was like in the shadows as like a ghost like figure, saying, Lewis, this is all your fault,
Correct. Like they did with Pascal. Yes, yes.
would that
That
make it?
might have been different. I think so. Speaking of, and I know we're rating it now, but we never talked about that like little, I don't know, 5 minute span of the movie where it kind of became kind of funny, right? With Pascal, like on the plane when
Oh
he's like
yeah.
he's all content that she's
Oh, yeah.
flying back,
And
and
in the
then when
semi
she's
truck,
talking to the
I have to stop
the
here.
truck, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
and like right, like I really like that part because it had been when Gage dies, right? Everything before Gage, something's gonna happen. It just the movie, but it's not. It's okay.
There's an
Kind of is what
anticipation of dread, and then there's just dread. And then
right.
there's that comedic relief, but it's not done distastefully.
Correct. It's done in a way that it doesn't feel out of place, which is like that. She goes up to the counter and I forget what about the car. He's like, no, you have one like this, and she's like, oh, I have one like It's just
What about the
it was
Aries K with the scratch on the side?
yeah. There you go. And that was awesome,
Hmm.
and so yeah, we didn't even talk about that because that was way. I mean, that was almost near the end of the movie, and for the most part, the movie really wasn't funny at all.
No, and that
So
added to Pascal's cool, uh,
yes,
you know.
yeah. So I really enjoyed that. So that also adds to my reasoning for having it be a 9.5 because it was a lot of it was a lot of kind of comedic things in a small amount of time,
Mhm.
but it worked.
Yeah, I like that a lot. For
Yeah.
some reason, that reminds me of Home Alone.
Yeah.
When he gets in the truck with John Candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Home Alone was after that though. Yeah, 91 or so, or 90.
Oh, I don't know.
Home Alone was 90, I think. Yeah, John Hughes
So maybe John Hughes stole that from Pet Cemetery.
could have.
All right, so that's our ratings. I think we covered just about everything. We talked about Elliot Goldenthal. We talked about the Ramones. We talked about the character development. We talked about the storyline and how it loosely follows the book. Um, I think we hit everything. What we didn't hit, and no one is sticking around for this, but we are
No,
going to do a small episode on Mike's crazy theory. So I'm not sure which
it's
one.
not just my theory because I thought about it and then I was like, okay, I have to look it up. I have to see if anybody else thinks this. And people people definitely think what I think.
All right, so we'll get into it.
Yeah.
You guys good? You got anything else to add?
Nope.
I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery.
No,
Tell you
no,
that.
no.
I don't want to live
No.
this life again.
Christ on his throne, who would?
Thank you guys for watching. This was a long episode, but it's a great film, so there
Yeah.
was a lot to talk about.
Sometimes that is better.
Shut up.
I hope I can you even tell if that's Pet Cemetery back there?
You really
I
look
can,
at it, you can see church.
yeah, I see church. You should
Cool.
you should play the music. No,
I mean,
that'd be copyright stuff.
no,
Before,
turn it. Hold on. You're not going to hear it. Let's see.
No.
no.
Yeah, you probably can't hear it at all.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.